up, everybody? It's your host, Sam Fisher, with an episode of The Unknown Pro. Today, I have my very special friend, Hannah Flippen, here with me. What's up, Flip?
Not much, Samu. Happy to be here.
Yay, I'm so glad. Also, I have this kind of like written down in my questions that I wanted to ask, but like I said it already. I called you Flip. Is that a nickname that you love, or is that something that has grown on you because of your last name?
It's I love it. I think it's like cool. Like, yeah, my last name's Flippen. You could call me Flip. I think it's cool. But nobody called me Flip until after college.
What?
I went to the University of Utah and my coach was like, "We're not gonna call you Flip here. Flip is used as a bad word in Utah. They'll say like, what the flip? And so it's like a cuss word in Utah. So
Oh my God.
um yeah, so everybody's calling me the F word according to the Utahns. No, but I love it. I think it's really cool and I'm happy to have that nickname.
Okay, that is the greatest nickname story I think I've ever heard.
Yeah. So in college, people would call me Hands or Nans or Nanners. Shout out to Shelby Pacheco for the Nanners.
Man,
I don't know why. I don't know why.
that is,
The H sound is just too hard, so they
I
changed it
guess
to an
so.
N.
Yeah, I guess so. That's amazing. Oh my gosh. And also that's so cute of Utah that flip is like a bad word.
Right? It's just
So
cute.
cute. I'm so glad
So
that I asked. I've actually wondered that because I'll like, go back and forth, call you Hannah, call you Flip, and I'm like, I wonder how she really feels about it.
yeah.
So that's because some
You
people,
have to ask Anissa what she calls me because
yeah, go.
Anissa knows me as both now. Like she
Oh
knows
my
me
God,
as
right.
Hannah at Utah and Flip in my professional world. And so I don't even know what I think she calls me Hannah,
We'll
but
find, yeah.
interesting to hear both sides.
Yeah, seriously. Because I know for me personally, there's some people who can get away with calling me Sammy, but
Hmm.
that's like four people.
Sammy.
I know, see, it doesn't work. But there's a few people where when they see me and they say, "Oh, Sammy," and I'm like, "Yes, this is normal." But if like,
But if I said it, it's not
if if
normal.
if you said, "Hey, Sammy," I'd be like, Fagan, I don't understand. Who are you talking to?"
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, you're absolutely not talking to me, nanners, all right?
I can't wait for you to start calling me Nanners.
I want to try to think of something that's like my own version of Hannah Flippen. So stay tuned,
Okay.
folks.
All right. Can't wait.
So before we get started into, maybe more of the juicy questions other than your name, I'd like to give people just a good bio and so that they know just how spectacular you are thus far in your life. Is that cool with you?
That's all right.
Okay, sit tight, seatbelts on. You graduated from University of Utah in 2017. Flip, yeah.
Well,
Um,
you,
you are the all-time leader in runs, hits, and batting average, aka like the most important, categories offensively. In your career there, you are a three-time All-American, which you're the first three-time All-American in Ute history, as well as you were four-time All Pac-12 team, and that's also the first time in program history. So you're just over there like, I'm just going to do everything that hasn't been done before. Two-time academic All-American, which not only is your game big, but your brain's big as well. And you were two-time Pac-12 Player of the Year in back-to-back seasons, your junior and senior year. And also as a senior, you were the Defensive Player of the Year for the Pac-12. And that, I mean, flash that leather, my friend. That's some stuff. I remember, side note from the bio, I remember when they announced you as Player of the Year your junior year, because I'm obviously obsessed with softball. And I was so excited because it was somebody, sorry for those listening, it was somebody that wasn't from UCLA. And I was just,
uh,
and then the next year I was like, she did, doggone it, she did it again.
she done did it again.
But I had no, in 2017, I knew who you were. So that was, I
Hmm.
felt like that was more special. The year
An
before, I was
added
just a fan.
bonus.
Yeah, I was just a fan before. So anyway, back to you. In 2017, you were drafted to Scrapyard, where you guys won the whole thing.
Yes.
You played there 2017, 2018, and then you went and played with the Bandits in the MPF in 2019, where I believe you were all MPF. When
Yes.
you sure were. And then with USA, America, God bless, 2016, where we met on the elite team. And then from there, you played 2017, 2018, and now 2020 Olympic team casual. And you played this last season with Athletes Unlimited in their inaugural season. So, wow, really got some peppered experience in the softball
Totally.
world. That's wild,
Totally.
man. The, was Utah your school that you wanted to go to, or did it just happen upon you?
It wasn't my dream school, but it became my dream school once I
I
got
love
there.
that.
My dream school was San Diego State University. I'm from San Diego. I
Got
was
it.
like, I'm going here. I want to be at my backyard. I want my mom and dad to come to all of my games.
Yeah.
And I went and visited there and liked it, but still kept my options open and ended up taking a visit to Utah. And I was like, holy smokes. I was like, this is it. Like,
Yeah.
right when I got on campus, like I had the biggest smile on my face, and it literally was like such a magical weekend. I fell in love with the coaching staff.
Yeah.
The softball field was brand new, huge plus.
Love that.
They were in the Pac-12, which is super competitive league, and they also traveled to the West a lot. And that's important for me. I wanted to be close enough to my family to where
Yeah.
they can come see me and come visit and play competitively. So it was turned out to be like the all around best choice for me. And I would do it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. So
I love that. That's so, and I mean, how far of a drive is it from your house in San Diego or your parents' house to University of Utah?
it's 12 hours.
Okay,
So
that's yucky,
Vegas
but
is
not
like Vegas is the halfway point though. So like if you're gonna
okay.
go, like you stop in Vegas, you gamble a little
Make a
bit,
trip
and then you
of
just
it.
keep going.
Yeah, there are a lot farther schools than that. That's for sure.
Totally. Like at least it's within a day of driving if you want to do it.
Right, right. Especially if your
It's
parents are
not some
together,
extended.
split it up. It's not, yeah,
Totally.
no big deal. Wow, that's
You sleep, I'll drive.
yeah, exactly. That's a partnership right there. That's so cool. I love hearing that because I honest to God feel the same way about my experience was that LMU was not my dream school. I stepped foot on the campus, it became my dream school. So
Hmm.
that I think that that's especially because you went and visited San Diego State and you thought this
Yeah.
was my dream school. Like you could have said yes because you're dreaming of it, you're planning for it, and then you visit it and you're like, okay, should be where I should go. But
Yeah, it
things,
was just like that. Didn't it didn't hug me. It didn't grab a hold of me like,
yeah,
but something about Utah just really got me, and I was like,
yeah.
it was one of those like you just know it when you feel it kind of
Oh,
moments, and
absolutely.
I felt it and I was like, this is it. We're doing it.
And
I
look
was
what you
like, I've
did.
I've never lived in the cold. I've never lived in the snow, and we're gonna do it.
And now
I kind of forgot about that aspect of it when
yeah,
I was visiting, but
that's
now I'm still there too.
when did you visit? Did you visit in a cold time or did you visit in a warm
No,
time?
I visited in September, so it was like
Perfect.
beautiful fall leaves are changing, and I was like, this is cool. Like I'm used to California where it's like green trees all year long and 70 degree weather, and
Right.
it was like cool colors and cool atmosphere, and it's like this is all right. Let's do it.
Yeah,
And
I
then it
guess.
got cold, and I was like, oh,
Like, wait a
this
second.
happens.
This doesn't
And
happen in
I don't know what
California.
this is.
Yeah,
What's
where's
the
the
white stuff
ocean?
falling from the sky? Exactly.
And now
And
you
like
still live
surrounded
there.
by these, yeah, surrounded by huge mountains. Like you can't even see anything other than mountains when you go to
Yeah.
Utah, which like I've learned to love. And yeah, I
Yeah.
still live there and I still love it. And I don't know if I'll ever move anywhere else.
That's great. And now you're a real mountaineer now. I mean, like seeing you in the mountains, it makes a lot of sense. But,
I just make sense there. I just
you
fit
do.
there.
I mean, to be fair, I've never seen you at the beach, so I don't know, the vibe of that,
Well, that's
but
because I'm not a huge beach person anyways. Like I like being in
yeah.
California because it's warm, but I'm not a huge like sand in the toes and giant ocean that who knows what's in there. It's not my cup of tea.
No one
I'd
knows.
rather have 2 feet on the ground.
That you know what? You're not really allowed to say that when you're from Southern California, that you don't love the beach, but like the sand just gets in all your stuff for like
Yeah,
months. I can't,
for mine.
and all of a sudden you're like, why is my car still sandy? I went to the beach 3 months ago, and
Totally.
you can't get
Totally.
away from it. So I'm so happy to hear that. It makes me feel like connected because when
Like
I
you
say
can be accepted.
yes, when I say I don't love the beach, everyone's like, oh my god, what Malibu, and I'm like,
Malibu.
like I can't. The current in the ocean makes me nauseous sometimes, but it is what it is.
And you're just gonna get sucked out into the middle of the ocean and yeah,
Yeah, no thanks.
I'll
I'm
stick
not a
to the
mermaid.
mountains.
Well, that's a real. I think that that's a really cool story of how you got there and how
Mhm.
you're still so in love with it. Because, well, I mean, just glancing at what you did in your career, softball wise, that's just the highlights. But I'm sure the other parts of your 4 years were even just as incredible. But
Totally.
did you know anybody going into school, or was it just like everybody's new, everybody's a stranger?
It was mostly everybody's new, everybody's a stranger. It was the experience where it's like I've played against like Anissa
Mhm,
and who else? Anissa and Bella and Bridget.
mhm.
I'd played against the kids that were in my same class, and Sammy, I'd played against them. But it was just that. And even after we all committed, it was still just that. Like we never connected, we never
Wow.
became friends until we got there, and then we all lived together, and it was like, all right,
You're
and it
friends
actually
now.
seemed it worked out great. Like it was me, Sammy, Anissa, and Bridget in a dorm room, and never met them before, but we did it, and we're all still good friends now. Like
That's so
it worked
great.
out great, and I'm happy about it. It's scary not knowing anybody, but
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of what college is and what college is for, is to go somewhere where you don't know anybody and you just kind of figure it out.
Absolutely, and then it makes it easier to go places that you don't know anybody in the future, like a USA tryout camp or something like those along those lines where you're like,
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know
a
anybody
little more
here.
intimidating there, but same idea, same idea. You get a little taste of it when you go to college, and then it just like USA tryouts. Like,
Yeah.
but
And then
that's the other cool thing about the USA tryout is like playing in the Pac-12 and playing travel
yeah,
ball in California. Like you play against all of these people, and then you're at a tryout,
yeah,
playing with, playing against, meeting them, getting to know them as more than just an opponent on the field. So all of
yeah,
those experiences, I'm super grateful for, and
yeah.
uh, look at us here,
Look at us
met at
now.
a on a USA team, and now we're good buddies.
Yeah. Oh, stop it. I can't get emotional on this podcast, okay? Um, speaking of USA, was that like a dream or did that like happen?
A little bit of both.
Cool.
So my mom played on the USA team. I
She
couldn't even
sure
tell you
did.
what years. I couldn't even tell you what years, but I do know that um, the Olympic year was coming up, and she ended up getting pregnant with me.
Hannah.
So I kind of ruined my mom's plans. And so now it's like my destiny to make it to the Olympics and to do
That's
all the things. And
amazing.
she's living through me, through it all. But I am like so happy with it. I wouldn't want it any other way. Obviously, I'd want my mom to be an Olympic gold medalist and all of those
Right.
things. But um, and the reason why I say I kind of happened upon it is because in 2016, I didn't even get invited to the tryout.
Right.
I joined the team right before the summer happened
Hmm.
because I had a great junior year. And Coach Berg, I mean, this is the story that I've been told, is that Coach Berg was kind of like, this kid needs to be on the USA team. And she was part of that staff and part of the
Hmm.
whole program. And so she kind of helped me get on the team that year. And that's kind of what opened the door, and
Yeah.
showed me what the dream is and what I
Yeah.
didn't know yet. So very thankful that she saw something in me and knew that I needed where I needed to be and helped me get there. Because
Yeah.
now I'm really living the dream.
Heck yeah. Oh my God. Shout out to Bergie, man. What
Shout
making
out to
dreams come
Bergie.
true. And
Totally.
I remember that because you weren't at the tryout
Hmm.
and then they announced later, like before we went to training camp, the later additions to that team. And there
Yeah,
she is, Hannah Flippen. And
there it
I
was.
mean, I feel the same one. Like I said, I was already kind of a fan before we met, and then we met, and I feel like I was just like a fan in general, and now I'm just like happy that we're friends because
Hmm.
I feel like have been the same person the day that I met you to now in a positive way, not in a way of like you haven't grown or learned or anything, but in the way of like you're so even keeled, you're so like okay, you know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
thanks. That means a lot to me. I
really?
take pride in being like an even keeled kind of girl, and um just pride myself on not being any different dependent on who I'm around. I want to be myself, and I want to
Yeah.
be comfortable, and I don't want to try and be something I'm different, because then I'll probably forget to not be that person the next time I go around them. So
There's
just be myself, and it makes it easier on me and you.
yeah, there's so much to keep track of. You're like, okay, what's my personality when I hang out with Sam? Okay,
Exactly.
but it's not the same as the chitty personality, so I have to make sure to
Totally.
keep those. That does sound like a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. So, but I
Yeah.
appreciate that, and that you
Hey,
see that in me.
absolutely. And that's I think what drew me to number one on the field. You're that way. So watching you play, I was a fan because I love the way that you play, where you're just like I'm
Hmm.
here to get a job done, and like I'm excited when my team does well, kind of thing, but never like slumped shoulders. Never, you can never tell if you were having the worst game of your life or the best game of your life. You're always just out there. And I think that that's really cool. I I had coaches when I was younger to say that nobody should be able to tell if you're up by 10 or down by 10, and if
Hmm.
you've hit 3 home runs or if you've had 3 strikeouts. Like, nobody should be able to know. And I think that you embody that very well, and I admire that about you. And I think that that's one of the things that really, number one, made me a fan of you as a softball player, but like as a person too. I mean, especially this year. I mean, crap, we've hung out more this year than
I
in the
know.
history of
Than
our
all of our
friendship.
years
I'm
combined.
like, Flip, you're here again? Sam, you're here again? All right, I guess we're hanging out again.
Let's hang out. Let's do it. But no, I really do take pride in that, specifically in my softball game.
Yeah.
I do live the nobody should know if you're 0 for 3 or 3 for 3, because at the end of the day, like, what you did your last at bat doesn't matter for your next at bat, and it doesn't
Yeah.
matter to the team. And if you do wear those things, wear those emotions, then the other team can take advantage of that and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And also, I want to be the best teammate that I can be. And if I'm worried about myself, then I can't do that for my teammates. So
Yeah.
I do take pride in just being the same, the best, the competitive, like just always having that edge that nobody's
Yeah.
going to beat me, or if you beat me last time, you're not going to beat me this time. And
Yeah.
I think it's been huge for my game. And I hope that all the young kids are learning that early and
Yeah.
learning that before they get to college, because when you get to college, it gets even tougher.
Oh yeah. Would you say that you had that mentality from a young age, or did you learn it more in college? There we go.
No, I like hate to admit this, but I was the kid that cried.
No.
Whenever I got out, I
Wow.
cried in the dugout until I was like 12 years
I
old.
was
I
gonna say
cried
22 years old.
until I was about 12. But it's like the good and bad. Like, I just cared so much and wanted to be so
Totally.
good that I couldn't control my emotions, and I didn't know how to. But then I learned that like maybe crying isn't the coolest way to express that emotion. Um, and so I learned that if I had a bad at bat or made an error, whatever, then I would have to turn outwards to my teammates and be like, "Here we go, Sam. Like, you got this. You're gonna do it better than I did it. And then my next at bat, I'll do it better than you did it." If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I learned that crying in the corner of the dugout and throwing my helmet was not the way to make my teammates better, and it just made my mom a little bit more angry and probably a little embarrassed too. So I tried to quit that as soon as I can. Turns out I was about 12 years old when I
I
when that all happened.
That is amazing. And thank you
Yeah.
for admitting that. I mean, it's because there, I've played with people in their 20s who throw their helmet. Like
Yeah.
that, some of that stuff doesn't go away. But I agree with you with what you said about good and bad, where you're like, you're feeling all these things, you're feeling passionate and you're feeling disappointed that you didn't succeed. And those are good things. You don't want to be
Hmm.
satisfied with failing, even when you're 9, you know?
Yeah.
So you're showing the good things, but then realizing that crying maybe isn't going to be what helps you get better. It's going to kind of take away from it.
Totally. Takes away from it for sure. And it's not to say that I don't like get upset and
Right.
disappointed now when I fail, but it's just that I've learned how to do it better, how to fail better, how to
Mm,
fail and use my emotions for better. But
right.
I still get pissed off and
Of
have all of
course.
those emotions and just channel them to Sam, who's up to bat now, and push all my energy and all the vibes towards Sam to do it
Sam,
better.
use my anger.
Use my anger for good.
Yeah. Well, it's all about channeling it. I mean, that's how I feel at least. I'm not an expert,
Yeah.
of course, but channeling,
Oh,
oh, good God, channeling what you can in order to use it for good and use it to
yeah.
help your teammates, use it to help yourself. There's times I can think about when I was younger and my dad would just say something to piss me off because he knew I needed to like use that anger, and I'd go out and I'd get a good hit and he'd be snickering in the dugout. I'm like, Dad, what was that trick? He's like, I knew you needed to be angry. Like,
No.
this is
Meanwhile, my mom
functional in therapy. Go ahead.
totally. Meanwhile, my mom would say one thing and I'd be like, "No, why'd you say that?" And then I'd just sit on the bench and be like, "I'm not going out there." So she had to definitely like say like, "Hannah, like you could do it." But then
That
I'd come back in the dugout and she'd be like, "Why'd you hit a ground ball?" I'd be the kid like, "You think I'm trying to hit a ground ball, mom? I'm not trying to do that." But
I'm
we've
trying so
definitely, me and my mom, we've been through it all, but we've got to a good place. And It's been really good. It's been really fun to experience all of this with her
Yeah.
by my side, and our relationship has gotten better. But definitely not a good therapy relationship, but a good softball one.
I know. When you say it out loud to somebody who doesn't know, you're like, wow, that sounds not good, but it
Yeah.
sure was the best thing that I needed or whatever,
I
so
mean, look at us now. Look at us
look at us
now, playing
now.
pro.
Super mentally healthy. That's always a funny joke, but
It
um,
is.
but I think that what's cool about you is that you were someone this last season that I actually sought out to make me feel better about things with if I was feeling down about something. And I think that everything that you just talked about trying to channel into your teammates kind of came across off the field too. Cause I don't, I, if I'm feeling down about something, I talk to my dad or, sometimes I'll
Mhm.
talk to Chitty about it, even when she's super positive. But I felt comfortable enough to be like, Flip, I need you to give it to me straight. What's the deal? Like, why do I feel like this? What am I doing? What am I not seeing? And you said it, you gave it to me straight. And I think that that is, I even have a hard time with that when somebody wants to know something and I don't want to hurt somebody's feelings, but do you know what I'm talking about, right? Like,
Yeah, totally. So, but in the instance, like you're coming to me because like something clearly is off or wasn't working. And so it's like you need to know directly, like,
yeah,
how to do it better and how to fix it. If I lie to you and say like,
yeah,
Sam, it's fine, or like they're wrong, or
yeah,
you should be doing this, like then that what does that help you? It doesn't help you at all.
right.
So I've learned that even though it's hard to say things directly and um, say things straight up, it's going to be
Yeah,
better in the end for both of us. Like you're
right,
going to trust me more to come to me because you know that I'm going to give you the truth, and you're
right.
going to grow from hopefully whatever I say, because hopefully whatever I say is accurate and
Yeah,
um, represents the situation well. So hopefully we both grow from the situation by telling the truth to each other.
right,
And also, like, that's something that I would want from you. I wouldn't want you to lie to me and just pat my
right.
back and say it's okay and when it's not okay or anything like that. And I think that's a life thing too. Like, if our
True.
relationship is at odds, like, I'd want you to say, like, Flip, you're being really mean to me and I don't appreciate it because it makes me feel this way, this way, this way. And so it's
Yeah,
like, Sam, the way that you carry yourself on the field really bothers me. And I think that if you talk to me at shortstop a little bit more, then
yeah,
we'll be better or whatever it is. But
yeah.
if I never express how I feel and you never express how
Mhm.
you feel, or if bottom line, if we don't tell the truth to each other, that it doesn't make you better, it doesn't make me better. But
Right.
it totally is a hard thing to do
Yeah,
because it's like you don't know how the other person's going to receive it. So
right.
I do think we've gotten to know each other a little bit where I know your intentions and you know mine. And so
Yeah,
we can have those conversations. But at the end of the day, like I just wanted you to be better and
yeah.
get better and grow and be a better player than you were yesterday. And so
Mhm.
I'm going to say things that I think might be true. And I hope you
Yeah,
do the same to me because you want me to be better.
absolutely. And if we
It's
both
a
get
full
better,
circle.
it is because if we both get better, then our team gets better. And
Totally.
who doesn't want to win some of them points? You know what I mean?
Ugh, I want to win all the points. Those freaking points.
That's a whole other story. Talk about. I think there was one weekend where in 3 games, I think I had 60 points total. I was like, okay, let's go to the next week. Let's just move on, you guys. Forget about it.
And let's move on to the next topic. Keep going.
Let's anyway anyway so yeah I think that's such a really just a cool way of approaching the game and approaching your teammates, but like you said, it's life too. Like there were things you told me, things that you saw and that you made me feel really good about myself, and you made me feel it wasn't like, Sam, you're terrible at this, get better. It was, you're here and you can get here. What's wrong with hearing that you can get better?
Hmm.
So that's a really cool way to approach, I think, everything. And that actually very easily transitions into my next question for you, is that
Oh,
how how did you become the player that you are? Like, did I wrote finesse down because you're someone so fun to watch because the ball just gets from your glove into your hand just so fast and so easily, and you throw in all these different positions and you're just like, here you go, first baseman or second baseman or whoever.
uh-huh. Whoever.
Was that something that was natural and you worked on it to like improve, or did you have no finesse and developed it, or like, I just want to know, I got to know.
Good question.
Thank you.
Well, I will attribute some of it to my parents because they have athletic ability. Obviously, it takes a little bit of that.
Right.
But also I have 3 brothers, not had, they're all still here. I have 3 brothers.
Yeah.
2 of them are younger, 1 of them's older, and we have this big wall in our front yard, and we play butts up.
Oh my
Do you know what
God.
that game
Of
is?
course I
Where
do.
you throw it against the wall, you have to field it cleanly, you throw it against the wall, the next person fields it, and if you make an error, you gotta go run and touch the wall or
To peg
the other
you,
people
right?
can hit you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and you wanna be quick about it, like, you wanna be as fast as you can and accurately as you can, and
Mhm.
so I grew up playing that game in my front yard from when I could start walking,
Right.
basically,
Right.
walking and throwing a ball, and so it was constantly playing the game even in a non-traditional way, like playing butts up or playing pickle,
Yeah.
where you run in
Yeah.
between and try and be safe at one of the bases. We played that in the house. Like
Oh my
we,
God.
yeah, it's not good. We broke a lot of things. We played, we called it mini baseball. You know, like the little wood bats.
Yes.
Um, we would play with a little wood bat and a little golf ball,
Oh my
wiffle
God.
ball in the house. Also, not the best idea,
Not
but
great.
I think it's those unconventional things that I did with my brothers that kind of developed my skills early. And then just watching the game, and it wasn't always softball. I watched a lot of baseball growing up because I
Mhm.
had 3 brothers and we were at the baseball field and it was on TV. So I watched baseball all the time and just seeing what they do and how they do it and then trying to mimic all of those things.
Mhm.
I think imitation is a lot of the way we can learn the game and get better at the game is like
Yeah.
by watching other people. When I do lessons and clinics and stuff like that, I tell the girls, go find a softball player that you love. Like, go find a swing of Sam Fisher and try and replicate it, or go find
Yeah.
a swing of Amanda Chittister and
Mhm.
try and do what she does. Because, there's kids that come in and they do some funky things, and it's like, where'd you learn this? Like, you must have seen somebody do this.
Right.
Um, and so it's like finding people that look like you or swing like you and watching video of them, watching video of good players do it and trying
Mhm.
to imitate that. So I would watch videos of Khalil Green was the San Diego Padres shortstop growing up,
Okay.
and I thought he was the coolest guy ever. Like he had this long blonde hair, but he just played defense so great. And
Yeah.
I was like, I want to be Khalil Green. I want to be the shortstop for the Padres. Obviously, that was before you could say, "I wanna be Delaney Spalding, the shortstop on
Right.
the USA team," because
Right.
now it's in front of us a little bit more. Um, so just by watching other people professionally do it and then doing unconventional things with my brothers, I think is a big attribute to how I got to where I am today.
I love that. Wow, that was such a fun story. I was sitting here like, you know how like the emoji with the heart eyes? That's how I kind of felt listening to that. Just, because it's true. Number
Yeah.
one, you touched on a really, really good thing that I was going to say is that you grew up wanting to be this shortstop for the Padres,
Mhm.
and now we're giving, these kids have the opportunity to want to be Hannah Flippen, who
Yeah.
plays, wherever you're playing. And I think that part, it made me get a little, like a little emotional because you're like, this is I gr- I'm not gonna lie, I grew up wanting to be Derek Jeter. Like also who else didn't? But
Who else didn't? I
yeah,
still wanna be Derek Jeter,
seriously, like
actually.
I wouldn't mind, but that growing that to the point where somebody can, you know, wear your jersey number because they saw you playing on TV or they saw you competing
Totally.
for a gold medal,
So
all those.
cool.
It's so cool. So I love that you touched on that imitation. I think that is so true. And I don't think I really realized it until you said it. Cause when I was going through and really learning the swing that I have for the most part now, I watched footage of Albert Pujols and I watched footage of
Mhm.
Jim Edmonds and I watched these guys hit the ball and how they use their body. And I said, okay, I'm going to have to try to do that with my body, even though
Totally.
my legs are a little bit smaller tree trunks than Albert's.
Looks a
They,
little
they can,
different.
as long as they move the same way, but that,
Yeah.
that's so cool because you do make those plays that you see on Sports Center, these guys in the MLB, throwing off of one foot or like bare hand, I'm just saying.
That's the one. The on the run play. It was like the play that I wanted to make when I was like a 7-year-old. I'm like, I'm
Yes.
gonna figure out how to do it, and
Yeah.
I would get up on the wall in front of my house and just throw the tennis ball and try and see if I
Mhm.
can do it. Try and see if I can do it, and then go watch Derek Jeter do it again. Go watch Khalil Green do it again. See how they did it. Try it again. Like
Yeah.
I think just watching the game is so huge for even us now, like
Oh
I
yeah,
watch your swing, I watch Chitty swing, I watch Anissa swing, and how they're all different but still have similarities in them.
of
And it's
course.
like, what does she do well that I'm not doing, or how
Right.
does she do that, and should I be doing it that way, or should I keep doing it my way? Like, there's so many
Right.
different ways to play the game and
Oh
to
yeah.
learn the game, and I think we should utilize all of those tools. So for
Yeah.
all you listeners out there, go watch some softball and baseball.
Yeah, go watch and then try to do it. And it's
Totally.
true because if you go and it's all, I think it's about, bottom line is having an open mind and thinking
Hmm.
I can learn something from anybody. And if I try this thing that Hannah Flippen does and it doesn't really work with what I'm doing, I don't have to do it. But I
Yeah.
tried it and it doesn't mold in well with what I'm doing. It works for her, it's not working for me. I'm going to see what
Hmm.
this might do and try it, and kind
Yeah.
of piecing things together in that way where all of a sudden you're a mold of a whole bunch of different stuff with a little of your own flair, you know?
Totally. Well, and have you thought about like how much your swing has changed since you were in college or
Oh my
even high
god.
school?
Yeah.
But it's not like you were like, I'm going to do something totally different today.
Right.
Like, it's been little tiny changes that have
Yeah.
happened over the course of 10 years now. And now your swing is the way it is. And it's like, how did I get here?
Yeah,
But it's because you've always
seriously.
tried to adapt and change and get a little bit better and do something a
Yeah.
little bit different. And but I always think about that. Like, how did I get here? What did my swing used to look like or feel like?
I'll go back and look at pictures of myself from college and I'm like, that looks the same, but it looks different. What is this?
Same but different. That's
Yeah,
perfect.
it's so
It's
weird.
like, I know that's me.
Yes, that looks like me. I'm wearing the same number. I'm very confused. But
Nobody else wears 52.
ever. Oh my god, so I'm coaching a 10 under travel ball team. I think that you know that. And there was a girl
Uh-huh.
who was number 52 on one of the teams we were playing, and I wanted so badly. I kind of regret it because I wanted to go and be like, "Why do you wear that number? Like, what is it? Who
Didn't
wears
hear
that?"
what she says.
Yeah, but I chickened out because I didn't want to be like that random coach with the bucket hat on who was like, "Why is she talking to me?"
With the bucket add on.
Yeah, of course, obviously.
Well, and is your number from Mark McGuire? Is that wrong?
Hannah Flippin. It is. I
So
was told.
what if that kid said the same exact thing as you? Well, somebody was already 25 on my team, so I picked
I
52.
I honest to God would cry and then ask if I could adopt the kid. Be like, "Hey, can you let's just go home. Let's
Can you
just go
sign my
hang out."
jersey?
Yeah, I know. I'd be like, "What
Ask the
is
10-year-old, can you sign my jersey?
you know what I can imagine though would be like that story and be like, well, I was 25 for Mark McGuire. They're like, who's Mark McGuire? You know, that kind of story would probably happen. But
Yeah, that's true. That's
that
true.
was nice that you remembered that. It's funny because I've been 52 twice as long as I was ever 25, but that's still like the origin story of it,
Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
that's
I'm old.
awesome.
But yeah,
It's perfect. Yeah,
that
you're
and
getting
that
on the old side.
I I am a little bit on the older, especially once this year is over, and because I turned 30 this year, next year is the year that I become into my 30s, and that's a hell of a lot different than just being 30, It's like
I mean, and I must say, like, you and Chitty, we keep talking about Chitty. She's kind
it
of a
happens.
popular one for us.
It
But
happens.
like also it's inspiring, like, because I'm 25 right now and
Mhm.
see you and Chitty and Monica and Kat playing well past their 30s.
Yeah.
Um, like I want to do that. I think right now I want to at least. I don't know how I feel when I'm 30, but
Flip,
I know
yeah.
that I want to play for a long time. And so it's cool to see you guys do it. And also like you guys hit your prime and do it. Like I know like this much compared to like you and Chitty know like this much. So I'm excited for to continue playing. So not being old isn't always a bad thing, I guess.
I love that. It seems like the normal thing to say is like, "Oh, I'm old." But like I feel like a kid in a candy shop getting to be here, be 30, play softball, and that's it. Get to play softball. Boom. And then work out, every now and then. But that's the life, and that's actually something I wanted to ask you. Number 1 for the podcast, but number 2 cuz I don't know if we've had this conversation together, is that is your goal? Like I was going to ask if that's your goal to continue playing post Olympics, because you are young. You're 25. Like
Yeah, I'm a youngin.
you have so much to give to the game still, and you've given so much already. So, do you see yourself playing until you can't play anymore, or
Yeah, I think so. And I think honestly, a lot more athletes should. I think we've gotten to this idea that your prime is your college years,
right?
right? But that's been because there hasn't been a substantial pro
Right.
platform for us. Now the NPF's trying to grow, and now we have the Athletes Unlimited stuff. So I do think that it's heading that way to where these college athletes will realize that maybe I should play a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Maybe I should play into my 30s so that we
Yeah.
can continue to grow and hit our prime. Because we talk about like me and Allie and Delaney, we're all 25 years old. Like, who
Right.
knows how good we'll be at 30 years old.
Right.
So yeah, I want to keep playing for as long as I can. As long as I can, and I don't want to stop playing until my body hurts and my body won't let me.
Yeah.
My mom played for a really long time, and
Wow.
I think that's so cool. Like having a mom play south. Like I went to some of my mom's fast pitch games. She played like the women's open. It's like 19 years and older. You could go play in
Yeah.
this league in Chula Vista.
Oh my God.
So I think it'd be really cool to maybe be a mom one day and play softball, like,
Yeah.
and just open up the opportunities for women in our sport. But I absolutely will be playing after the Olympics. I don't know where. I don't know. I mean, hopefully Athletes Unlimited. Hopefully, maybe one day playing in the Japan League,
Yeah.
back in the NPF, hopefully, and hopefully on the USA team. I think
Right.
that I thankfully have a lot of opportunities and a lot of
Yeah.
avenues to play post Olympics, and so I'm going to take advantage of all of those opportunities
Yes.
without hesitation.
Heck yeah, man. That's inspiring as hell. I think it's cool because like you pointed out so clearly about like one day maybe being a mom, but also still playing ball. Cause I think that at least when I was going through college and whatever, thinking about the future, you think, well, I'm gonna have to stop when I want to have a life. Or
Yeah,
people saying, well, I put my real life on hold so that I can play ball, where it's like, wait a
totally.
second, I'm 30. My real life is this. This is real life. Like, no, there's
Yeah,
nothing on hold
this is
here.
your real life for
This
sure.
is it. Yeah. And if you look at it that way, of you're putting it on hold where you're like, wait, I'm living, like, this is the life that I'm living. This is
Yeah,
real life. But being able to seeing now more than ever people who are married or engaged to be married, or maybe have, I there's been women who have come back from having babies in softball, but
yeah,
also in other sports. So it's like,
hmm,
wait, why not? Why not? So the dream doesn't die just because you have another dream of maybe
yeah.
having a family or a dog, or
Totally. That's so true.
anything.
Like, who's to say there's supposed to be one dream or there is only one dream? Like, if I want to be a mom and a coach and a player, like, why not?
Let's do it.
Let's do
Yeah,
it.
absolutely. We're gonna probably have to have kids around the same time, especially with Chitty, just to make sure that she's kept happy. Um, so what's funny too is,
So we'll get all that planned out.
yeah, we'll have Anissa make a chart.
She's good at that. So,
Man, Chitty really does come up a lot in my conversations. Like, come up. Can you hear me? Okay, good. Sorry, I think I froze a little bit.
I don't know what you said. Say it
I
again.
said that
No.
Chitty really comes up a lot in my conversations, even when it's super unrelated. I don't know how. I'll be like talking about breakfast. I'll be like, you know what Chitty likes for breakfast? It's so stupid.
Hey, I think Chitty's favorite meal is breakfast. So it's all
That
relatable
actually
in
is
that
that was a
sense.
terrible example because that was extremely relatable to Amanda Chittister. But um, I love that, Flip. I love that you want to play for so long, and I love that softball has gotten to a point where you can see it. You can see it like in your future.
Totally.
And that's
Yeah.
amazing. That's so amazing.
Well, and I got into the coaching world a little bit the last couple of years and
Mhm.
realized that I also love that.
Yeah.
But I've learned that I can coach when I can't play softball anymore.
Right.
But when I can't play softball anymore, I can't play softball anymore.
Right.
So I think there's that aspect too. Like I do have these other dreams and aspirations in the softball world, but I think there's a time and a place a little bit for those different dreams. Not
Totally.
saying that you can't do it all at once, but I want to spend the time giving my softball career some quality time
Yeah.
to try and see how good I can get and see if I could be the best and
Right.
put all my eggs in that basket a little bit for
Yeah.
as long as I can.
Yeah.
Because I can coach. I can coach when I can barely move. You don't need to move
Absolutely.
much.
No, have the players carry you out there. It's fine.
Totally.
But
They
that's
carry all the equipment anyways.
exactly. It's just the same thing. And you're, like you said, you're going to be able to coach when you can't play, but when you can't play, can't play.
You
Like
can't play.
Yeah, you're
I
like,
can play
wait,
slow pitch, but
you, the dream lives on.
dream is still alive.
That's
No
so
one said that
true.
slow pitch softball isn't softball.
Yeah, dude, it's hard. I've struck out in slow pitch before. It's like really embarrassing.
I just played for the first time like 2 weekends ago,
Oh my
and
god.
it was hard. Like I
It's
couldn't even get the ball out of the infield.
no, it's like, wait, how do I what do I
Totally.
oh
The
it's
ball's
just
coming down from a different angle. Like
yeah, this is not like a changeup. It's not, I repeat, it's not like a changeup.
it's not a changeup.
But that's
PSA. It's not easy.
if you want a fast pitch player on your team, really, really think about it. Because everyone's like, oh, Sam,
Totally.
you play softball.
Come
Like, you,
play. Come
yeah.
play.
I'm like, I will be bad. And then you will think of me differently.
It's so true though. Like such high expectations.
Yeah. I'm like, listen, don't put this pressure on me. We're playing for, what are we playing for? It's really scaring me. But I love that the dream is there and that it's grown so much. Cause even I think about when I came out of college in, 1984 and it, it was 2012 and it was a yearly thing. It was,
Mhm.
am I going to be able to? Am I going to be able to? And then now, even in my career being out of college, now I feel like, wait, okay, so next year. So we work for next year.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel that the first shoot 5 years out of college
Mhm.
maybe, but it's grown just in that time.
Yeah, and somebody the other day asked me, like, how do you get into the professional world? Like, how did you get drafted or how
Mhm.
does that work? And I think that once I knew that the NPF was a thing, I was like, I'm in. Like, that's
Yeah.
what I want to do. And so I communicated to my head coach, Amy Hogue. I was like, I don't know what to do next, but I know that you know people in the world. So I told
Right.
my head coach, like, I want to play professional softball. If people call you, if you have to call people, can we make it all happen?
Let's do it. Yeah.
And I've heard like even the story with Anissa. I think she might have reached out to Scrapyard and said, "Hey, I want to play. Do you guys have a spot on your team?"
Amazing.
And they were like, "Yeah, come." So
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit initiative because it's not this
Right.
huge organization where it's like we're picking so and so and so and so and so and
Right.
so. I think for anybody that wants to play in the NPF and thinks that they should have a shot, can have their shot if they take initiative and go out on a limb and reach out and make some contacts with the Chicago Bandits or whoever
Right.
it is. If
Right.
you want it bad enough, I think that you can make it happen.
Yeah.
So just because maybe you didn't get drafted doesn't mean that you can't play.
Right.
Because they only draft so many every year, whatever
Right.
that means. But it doesn't mean that just because you didn't get drafted doesn't mean that you can't still play professional. So
Right.
I think it just takes a little bit of putting yourself out there to get on the
Yeah.
team.
Little gusto. And that's I think with anything too, like that having that initiative, I think is huge to achieving anything, whether it's
Mhm.
like my, my goal, I can only speak on my own experiences, right? But my goal, I wanted to be a collegiate all-American. And so I had to do the things and take the initiative to go towards that goal. And if I want to play pro, like you said, hey coach, like this is what I want. How do we make it happen? What do I have to do? What can you do? What can,
Mhm.
like all those things. How can I go and make this happen instead of like, I just want this to happen. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
I hope it just falls in my lap. It's
It,
honestly kind of like getting recruited for college. Like you
totally.
have to say what you're interested in and
Yeah.
figure out how to get there and how to be in front of that person's face or
Yeah.
be on that person's phone 24/7. Like
Yeah.
you have to definitely put in the work to get what you want. You can't just
Right.
wait for it to fall into your lap.
Right. Exactly. Man, I'm like fired up. I'm trying to think, okay, what do I want and how can I go get it? Like number one, it's lunch, and number two, go to the fridge. No.
I was gonna say number 3 would be to find a new book or something for
Oh
you.
yeah, I'm just gonna cross over here to my library and check it out. But that's I think that's so cool, and it reminds me of me. My senior year of college was coming. It was like April-ish, so it's coming to an end. My mom came to visit because she wanted to bring me some bins so that I could start packing my stuff in my dorm. And I had a mental breakdown in Target because I was like snot crying because I was like, I don't want to stop playing softball,
Uh-huh.
like LMU didn't go to regionals. We weren't somebody that it wasn't something that like had a tradition of making all Americans and getting girls drafted or being on the
Yeah.
USA team. So I remember being like, I don't know what to do, mom. And my mom unlike your mom, knows zero about sports. So she was like, sweetie, like maybe there's something that you can, like, I don't know. And I'm like snot crying. And I went back to my dorm and I emailed MPF coaches and I said, hey, do you have like tryouts or something? Or
Perfect.
what, And then I kid you, I flip you not, flip, that the next week I got the invite for Team USA. And
That's awesome.
that timing, I just feel like because I was like, number one, I know I don't want to stop. Number two, I'm going to try to do what it takes to get to the next level, to get to that next, stage of softball. And then all of a sudden, it also helped that I was having a good senior year. And
Totally.
because obviously you have to go out and you have to do the thing of
Yeah, you have to play.
you have to
play
get the
well.
hits. Yeah. And then the email came and I was like, okay, the universe was just throwing me a little curveball and then it threw me a nice little fastball.
Nice little fastball down the middle.
That's right. Yes. So I think that's such a cool way that you've approached honestly everything. It's really, this has been really a really nice and inspiring conversation. I don't know about you. I mean, I'm over here listening and getting all inspired because you're inspiring. But
Feels good. It feels good.
hey, and you know what? Before Athletes Unlimited started, we did with the PEC, we did some mock drafts.
Yep.
And I got you in one of my drafts, and every time I didn't get you, I was like, "Dang it! She was my. I wanted to pick.
He was my pick.
Yeah, I was like, listen, you guys, I don't want you to look at my notes, but you took my pick, so I just want to let you know I'm pissed.
Oh my gosh.
So
that I did a mock draft before our league started, and that is hard.
It's
to
so hard.
Do the draft. Like I wasn't even under any time constraints or anything, but
Yeah.
just the draft in general, like not that I'm happy I wasn't a captain, but the stress, the added stress on the freaking season.
Right. Picking the team and then having to make changes in the game and
oh my gosh.
That
it was quite the experience overall, but truly. maybe next year I'll be a captain. We'll see.
And then you have to come up with a cool team name.
Oh my god, that might be more pressure than the draft.
Forget picking the team, creating the team name. I mean,
there were some good ones this year for sure, though.
Truly. I hope it catches on to the other sports.
I hope it does too.
The other day, like
a lot of people loved the home run celebrations, like how that developed, and a lot of people love that. It was fun. It kind of made the game like seem like we were kids again, which is great and which is how you should always play the game, but it added that the fun and creativity and felt like you were a kid again, so that was cool. And I hope it still catches on.
Absolutely. And it made it to where you feel like you've been on this team for a while, not just where you're like, we have our celebration, we have our team name, we have, everything, everybody's so invested. And even though it was like, you guys were together for a week, barely.
Yeah. Well, and all of those things were almost more important than the practicing that you did as a team, because that was what created the team, like cohesion and the gelling of the team was the creative stuff. Like we all knew how to play softball, and that wasn't changing. It was okay, how do I get to know you better? How do I get to play with you better? Yeah. And it was all of that stuff. So kind of cool.
What a blessing. And you know what? We got to play together a little bit, which was exciting for me because I'm sick of playing against you. I'll be totally honest. Like, you guys get out of here. Just put her on base. I don't care. But then she's going to steal. So somebody cover,
somebody cover. Somebody do that.
You got it. That's cool. You can take it. But dude, Flip, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing, number one, your wisdom, but number two, just everything that you have gone through. And I, honest to God, I feel like we could go on for another hour and a half because I could talk to you all day, but this has been so great. Is there this, what's so funny is I've been asked this question and sometimes I don't like being asked this question, but I'm going to ask you this question is like, is there anything else that you'd like to add?
Oh man. Anything else that I like to add? One, everybody keep listening to Sam's podcast because they're great. And I think it really does give you an inside look to what I'm like, what Victoria Hayward's like, and just gives us a look into the personalities that are in this game. And I think the personalities in this game is why it is also so great and why the Athletes Unlimited experience was so fun. So, Sam, I love what you're doing, and I think it's really cool that you're giving the inside look to all of our fans and all of the people in our sport and maybe outside of our sport. So I'm grateful for it and happy for it, and I can't wait to see who you interview next.
Oh, Flip. Well, on that note, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. And Flip, you've been a pleasure. And I hope everybody has enjoyed learning as much as I have on this episode. But, thank you again, Flip. And I know I said that 3 times, but you've made me like a little, nervous
Very
with
grateful.
compliments. And so until next time, the Unknown Pro. See you guys.